Thank you very much for the intro, and thank you for being a part of this program. Welcome. The Freedom Hour is underway on this Saturday morning. Once again, Rick Amato with you. Doug Pasnick is on a well-deserved vacation. Apparently, Gary, he's enjoying himself, and that's great news that he's safe and sound.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. Yeah, Rick, Doug is having such a great time. He and
Yeah.
Karen are in Alaska, of all places. I just saw an image. Karen's holding this piece of ice is nearly as big as her. You know, this clear chunk of ice that comes out of a glacier from an Alaskan bay. What a joy. Their faces all cherry-colored, frozen tundra,
Oh my
having a
gosh.
blast. It's so good.
I'm just envisioning Gary with two puffy cherry cheeks. I think that's the image I'm getting.
You know, it's truly a joy to go there. Kevin and I went there a number of years ago. We went to this glacier bay that you cannot get to unless by boat. Some of the cleanest water in the world.
Yes.
And you can look through these glaciers. It's incredible. What a gift to be in creation. Fantastic.
And what a gift that William Seward, who was Secretary of State under, I believe, Lincoln, made the deal to acquire Alaska for about $1.80. And
Like the Louisiana Purchase, but
right,
bigger.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that, Gary Cordery, of course. He is co-host along with Doug and Gary. 20, what year is this? 2026 candidate for governor.
Yes, indeed.
How are things going?
They are going excellent. We have such a great team. We have great momentum. This is a movement for the people. The people of Hawaii must be heard. Legislators and executive branch must serve the people. And so this candidacy and governorship will be a time for the people to re-engage in life, to actually have their voices heard, to come out of the stands and re-engage their purpose. The people of Hawaii are strong and wise, and they will step forward, and government must create the openings and not constrain them. So this candidacy and my governance as governor will be one for the people and by the people.
It is an incredible time in which we live. And that's why the Freedom Hour is more relevant than even the past year that we've been on. It just seems to increase the necessity of open conversation and revelations of information that nobody else will touch. Before we continue, mission of the Freedom Hour, opportunities for folks to participate and support. What would you say?
Well, thank you, Rick. You know, the Freedom Hour is hosted by the Aloha Freedom Coalition. Our mission, AFC's mission, is to really illuminate information, empower the people with tangible steps for engagement, and encourage them to stand. It's the people. The people must drive the social agenda and what's going on in the state, not the legislative branch. They're supposed to support the people. And so we're standing together, not just here. We have a movie night. We have lots of ways to engage with the Aloha Freedom Coalition. And really, part of that is this show. This show is actually an expression of the people. It is designed by its very nature, a live call-in show for the people to come and declare what is true for them. And so this show belongs to you, those who are listening this morning. I just want to encourage you, while the opportunity is here, to say, would you consider investing in your future? This show is dependent upon the fact that people recognize that generational inheritance is at stake. And how we stand together in the public square, not just on this show, but in our workplace, in our family. This is the responsibility, the kuleana of the people. So one of the ways to do that is to go to AlohaFreedomCoalition.org, hit the three little bars, find the donation button, and donate. That's how we actually underwrite this program. And Rick, being on with you is a total honor.
Oh my goodness.
So it is a pleasure. And with Doug, obviously, we're missing Doug big time. There's nobody can fill that seat like Doug Pasnick. So we're looking forward to his return. And we're up for a great show today, I can tell you that.
Oh, yes, we are. We have a very special guest in studio with us, Gary Cordery. The introduction, please.
Oh, thank you, Rick. So what an honor to introduce Michelle Melendez. She is a resident of the Big Island. She's been there since 2019, and her sister's been there for
over 30 years.
30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle really rose to the forefront of the fight when the COVID mandates came down. And in particular, she's an author. In particular, she wrote this amazing book, The Great Maui Land Grab. Powerful book. It's pretty thick, you know. You got to be a good reader. You got to be committed. Mm-hmm. But I like it because it has pictures.
Oh, there you go.
It has pictures, and so that helps a lot for a guy like me.
There you have it.
But it is a true honor to have her on the show. She's a deep understanding of the things that transpired in Maui. She's going to be a gift to the people, and I just look forward to hearing what she has to share this morning.
I want to welcome you, Michelle, and aloha to you.
Aloha, and mahalo nui loa for having me on. Really grateful to keep this story alive, especially with the second anniversary of this absolute crime. This book that I wrote, it's Great Maui Land Grab, What Caused the Maui Fire and Is Your Home Next? It won third place, was a third place finalist in the American Book Fest under true crime, because that's what it was.
See, that is amazing, because I was mentioning off the air before we came on air, that this is something to delve into with great scrutiny, because what we're hearing and the information we're treated to, everything's fine. We're on our way. We have the land. People are getting compensated. Folks are in housing. We have food and jobs, and we're in recovery mode. And it's very simplistic, and I believe messages meant to assuage concerns, make people, here we go, feel better, and then underneath, oh my goodness, a maelstrom of various and sundry things. We're going to jump in. Michelle, a little bit more about yourself, would you mind? A little more background. Gary made reference, of course, to your excellent work during COVID.
Yes, I've been a fitness and wellness expert since 1996. My first book is End Dieting Hell, How to Find Peace in Your Body and Release the Weight. That book won 4 awards and was a bestseller on Amazon. So I started just speaking out and educating people on their own health, understanding how to keep your immune system boosted, how to keep yourself healthy, and so that's kind of my background. And then when the Maui fire happened, I paused for a little bit, because I was like, okay, I want to be respectful of those that transitioned, who died, until the Hawaii governor went to the United Nations. And he said that the Maui fire happened because of climate change. First, why does a governor go to speak to the United Nations, to the world leaders? There's no reason for a governor to go to the United Nations. Second, there's been so many experts in meteorology, climatology, geologists, almost 2,000 credentialed scientists from around the world have signed a World Climate Declaration. You can actually go on your computer to World Climate Declaration, and you'll find this document signed by almost 2,000 credentialed scientists stating there's no climate emergency. Climate change happens every moment of the day, but the climate narrative is what the experts are saying. That's not what's happening here. So even John Coleman, who was the co-founder of the Weather Channel, he was the first meteorologist on Good Morning America, won Meteorologist of the Year in 1984, stated there's no climate emergency. So why is the governor going there? And it's because this narrative of climate change is actually meant to bring in other legislation, like smart cities and different things like that is literally taking away our freedoms.
Carbon tax and so much more.
Absolutely.
John Coleman, I grew up watching him when he was the meteorologist on Channel 7 ABC Chicago. And he was the most popular television personality during that time, because he used a little bit of levity in presenting the weather that people could understand. And when he founded the Weather Channel, my goodness, who better? But when it came to climate change, he was absolutely screaming to the mountaintops, false, 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 false. And he got targeted, singled out, and his reputation was sullied, and even worse in some scenarios, legislation, taxation, and things like that. So my heart goes to John Coleman, and I was a firm believer in everything he said.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is, with this, the second year anniversary of this crime that happened on Maui. I'm really thankful to you guys for keeping the story and for doing this show here today, because it was an absolute crime. The death toll right there so many people should be screaming at the rooftops around that alone. But when you look at the fact that trees didn't burn. The book I have, Great Maui Land Grab, you can get it at greatmauilandgrabbook.com. And it shows you dogs, toads, people. They're not burning like they're supposed to burn in a fire. It's something has happened, and this was not normal.
But see, even that statement is going to generate, as you've probably experienced, immediate dismissal.
Oh, I would love that.
Immediate,
Yeah.
and just say, how in the world can you make this statement? How can you make claims that this was criminal? How can you justify and support? All you're doing is, and this is just devil's advocacy, all you're doing is just trying to profit off this for your own well-being, because what you're saying about the Valley Isle and Lahaina, absolutely you can't prove it, and this is all speculation. Who are you? Let's move on to what the governor and the legislature and Bisson and everybody, their storyline.
Yeah, well, I love that. We have pictures. How in the world does you have a dog in the middle of the street and it looks like it's running? First, animals in a fire, they're going to hunker down. They're going to go under a bed, under a car, and they're going to cover themselves. So they're going to be not out in the middle of the street running. This dog is not only on his side with his legs out like he's just running. You see his ears, his nose, his paw pads. You can see his fur. You can see the angle of his fur, and it's charred. The dog is not burned alive. It's when you burn an organic material, when you burn a human body or an animal, it burns from the outside in. So what should be left of that dog is a skeleton or ash. But you see the entire dog. My friend found a toad in the middle of the Lahaina burn zone. The toad is in a jumping position. It's hollow. There's no organs. Everything is hollowed from the inside, but it's completely intact. There's a person in the book. You're going to see two bodies. One is a person face down, and that's not the way bodies fall. It was face down. You see its braids in the person's hair. You can see the outline of braids. How does hair not burn in a fire? And then the second body that you're going to see is there's a line, like it's almost directly down the middle, but it's more to the right side, and it's a charred body, and the right hand is literally floating off the ground. It's black char. It's this hand, it should be skeleton, it should be bone again, or ash. But you see the entire right side of the body is black charred. You can see the leg, you see the arm, you see the face, and the other side is completely normal human body. That's not how animals burn or people burn. And this one woman, she found her child completely recognizable holding their dog. Okay, and the woman said she believes that God left the child that way so that she could recognize him. That's not the way bodies burn. They do not burn where you can recognize them. They are ash or skeletons. But here there's even a cat that is in a walking position, standing up straight. It's charred. That's impossible in a regular fire. The fact that cars melted, the glass melted out, the engine block melted out, but the trees standing right above the car, they're dried leaves. They have their complete foliage, but it's all dried. It's not charred. Now, when you have a tree that burns in a fire, you should have a black stick that remains black, and not an entire tree that's still there with the leaves still on it, but the leaves are dried, which means heat, but it didn't burn the organic material. Now people are going to ask why and how is that possible? I interviewed a 48-year arborist who has studied trees for most of his life, and I asked him, I said, how are these trees not burning? And he said, Michelle, the chemistry of the fire doesn't recognize the organic material. He said, Michelle, the chemistry is a microwave chemistry. And what happens when you put a chicken breast into a microwave? It doesn't burn the chicken breast. It doesn't catch on fire. It heats up the water inside the chicken breast, and that's how it cooks. It cooks because it's cooking the water. The water's heating up. That's why the trees burn from the inside out. He said the trees that burned the most were the ones that had the most water. And the water was burning, not the tree. So we have on I think it was Cron 4 News or one of the channels, they had their thumbnail for about a month or two was a tree burning from the inside out. Trees don't burn from the inside out in a fire. They burn from the outside in. And the reason why it was burning from the inside out was because the water was on fire, not the tree.
So based on what you've just said, this was not a natural occurrence. This was a purposeful, manipulative, premeditated assault on Lahaina and the island of Maui.
Absolutely.
If that's the case, Michelle, who's responsible?
So we don't know exactly the names, but we do know that it has something to do with the renewable energy companies, the electric companies. And I believe that it's the elite bankers that actually run the government, because people need to understand that this government is not a government by the people for the people. It's actually a corporation, and it is actually run by the elite bankers are the ones that really run this country and the world. And you can just look at the fact that the governor, he suspended 22 laws prior to the Maui fire. 22 laws. This man has acted outside the legislative body. His job is not to suspend laws. He's not supposed to be able to suspend laws, and legislation is the only one that's supposed to be able to make laws. Yet this man spent 6 months prior to the Maui fire, 6 months, he met with over 200 people, and he suspended 22 laws, the first being the historic preservation law. Now, you could not rebuild in Lahaina because of it was historically preserved. But now you can rebuild even though they're not. It still looks like a war zone. That's the other reason why it's a total land grab. Not one business has been rebuilt. They're not allowing people on the coast to rebuild their homes. So many things, but we don't know the exact names. We just know that it is something to do with the fact that Maui was set to be the first smart city. That was in 2015 by Hawaiian and Japanese stakeholders. So it is something to do with the renewable energy companies, everything that they want to bring in to not just Lahaina, but the state of Hawaii, and then looking at the legislation that the governor's putting through, which is an absolute violation of the Constitution, and it's taking away our freedoms.
What you're saying is that entities that have surreptitious control committed murder in order to achieve the opportunity to take over land in Lahaina proper and surrounding areas. That's your statement, Michelle.
That is correct.
And what gain is there with a relatively finite amount of technical real estate, the valuation of such that will be realized by these nefarious characters? What's the gain? Why would they perpetrate such an incredible on a small coastal town in the middle of the Pacific in the 50th state?
Well, you have to look at the fact it's trauma-based, and it's control. It's about control is what it's about. I mean, look at the very first bill that they tried to pass right after the fire. And it's actually, I can't remember the exact number, it's in the book, but they wanted to take the entire west coast of Maui to rebuild Lahaina in this one bill that did not pass, thank God. They were going to give the entire west coast of Maui to rebuild Lahaina, and the entire west coast of Maui, they were going to take it out of the Hawaii governance and give it to 9 people, a board of 9 people. And that bill did not pass. And if you want to read about it, again, greatmauilandgrabbook.com, it's in that book. But it's about control, and it's about taking away our freedoms and turning us all into these smart cities, which is basically surveillance cities, you guys. It's about surveillance and control and taking away our freedoms, which if you're looking at the governor and what he's been doing, this man has signed 90 times emergency proclamations that have suspended many, many laws. And I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but he keeps re-signing these emergency proclamations with where is the emergency? Where's the emergency that he keeps signing all of these proclamations that suspend laws, that keep moving forward with the agenda of smart cities and bringing in renewable energy and whatnot. So it's really, people need to take a look at what he's been doing.
So not only contained within your book, and it's great Maui land grab, but is this public record, for instance, each and every emergency
Yes.
proclamation? And is it a continuation of the previous administration of David Ige?
No.
Because David Ige was pretty handy at making personal and obviously state declarations of emergency. And that takes us to help his reelection was massive amounts of emergency proclamations for the rainfall that was, and I'm going to miss this, either Maui or Kauai, when there was terrible flooding. Those continued on after everything was resolved.
That's correct. That is exactly what the governor's doing. Governor Green is doing. Every 60 days, he re-signs these proclamations that suspend these laws. And people need to understand, a governor cannot suspend laws and he cannot make laws. And the other law that he created, that he signed, the other bill that he signed into law is Bill HB 427, which we can talk about that because that's about biosecurity. It's putting a biosecurity office into the Hawaii Ag Department. If you own land, you need to know about this law because this law allows this department, this new office, biosecurity, to come and take your land, take your livestock, take your food, all under the guise of something on your property that could be for public safety. If there's a beetle or your soil's contaminated or mold or something like that, and this law bypasses due process. So there's a lot of things that are happening right now that we need to be really taking a look at. But my heart goes out to the people who survived the Lahaina fire. And also when you're looking at it, I mean, look at the fact that the Maui emergency director, he wasn't on island. He didn't put out the best. What did we just have? We just had a tsunami. I got so many alarms on my cell phone. Not one person got an alarm on their cell phone saying there's a fire. The best warning system in the world wasn't turned on. The Hawaii State Representative, Ellie Cochran, she actually called that. She's the one that called the Maui fire chief and asked him, do we need to evacuate? And he goes, why? And she goes, there's a fire in Lahaina. He was off island, didn't even know. Nobody even contacted him. He goes, let me call you back. He calls her back a few minutes later and says, yes, evacuate. So what is going on when the best warning system in the world doesn't turn on and the emergency management people aren't even on the island?
The first thing that comes to mind is just, oh, that's how screwed up our state is. In every arena, we identify shortfalls, shortcomings, and people just will assume it's because, well, you guys just simply don't know what the hell you're doing. But you're taking it a step further.
Well, let's look at this. The sign-in sheet for the Maui Emergency Management Center. You have to sign in when you go in. You have to sign out when you leave. There was a reporter that kept asking for this sign-in sheet, and it took months before he got it. And finally, when he got it, the names, many names, were redacted. They were blocked out. Why is that? The Maui Fire Department, their report for the Lahaina fire, first they spend 10 minutes saying how great they all are and how much they worked so hard on this report, and then their names are redacted off the report. So we don't even know who worked on it, and it's things like that. It's like, yeah, and then not only that, but the mishandling of human remains. They had recruits picking up human bodies. They were supposed to do a GPS when you first find a body. You're supposed to put the body in one baggie. They were putting bodies and there multiple bodies in one baggie. So some people, they're
commingling.
This is in their own report. And thanks to Mr. Ibarra, he's actually the one that took the Maui police chief to the Maui police commissioner complaining about the mishandling of human remains, and nothing came about it.
You're dialed into the Freedom Hour, which is already halfway over.
Wow.
And you can be a part of the program. Open the phone lines at 521-8383 and come on board with any thoughts, comments, questions that you have as we approach the second anniversary of the Lahaina wildfires. And Doug Pasnick has time off, well deserved. Gary Cordery in studio, and author Michelle Melendez is with us as well. 521-8383. Call in now. Gary, your thoughts.
Well, I knew when we were going to have this show that it was going to be powerful. Anytime you go back and you remember such a horrific event like the fire in Maui, it's going to raise so many issues for people. The loss that people experienced, not just their homes and their property, their lives, generations, families, kapuna, keiki, all of that, it is so raw. The idea that we're moving on is not true. And when I just sat here and listened to Michelle, I couldn't help but think shock and awe, a remembrance of what's really transpired. Our society is such a moment by moment driven. We're thinking about this today, but yesterday's gone. That we as a people would remember what's happened in Lahaina, because it is not an accident. I don't believe it was an accident. I don't think any of the evidence purports it as an accident. The questions that linger for me are, why so much censorship? Why the suppression of evidence? Why the collusion between agencies protecting each other? Rather than why don't we have an open, honest, transparent look at what actually transpired? And I thought about this on the way here. Remember in the Second World War when the English soldiers were trapped in Northern Europe, and what is his name? I forgot his name. They called for the people, get your boats. Let's go evacuate these people.
Oh, Dunkirk.
Dunkirk, yeah, the Battle of Dunkirk. And the people pulled their tarps back and they put their boats in the water, and the people engaged. And I thought about that relationship to what happened in Lahaina, when the people tried to step forward and to serve their fellow citizens, and the government restrained them and made it impossible. Instead, they put up barriers, shut down roads, shut down accessibility, covered all the evidence, shut down the waves, couldn't use your cell phone. Everything was secured and constrained. The information has been suppressed, and we have no answers to this day.
That's right.
The lingering issue is Lahaina is still a ghost town. It's still a burn zone. Lahaina Street is still closed. I was there 2 weeks ago.
Front Street
is closed. You
Yeah.
can't even go in there. And Michelle is right. The way that the governor is functioning in this state through executive orders, over 4.5 per month, that's a lot. Mm-hmm. And he does have this authority, but there's the responsibility of the legislators to reel him in and say, no, this is not Pono. You cannot continue to reissue these executive orders against the will of the people. These things like sunshine laws are a joke. We must have accountability. And there is accountability there, but it has to be discovered. There has to be the courage of legislators to say, no, we need we need the FBI. We need Kash Patel to come to Hawaii and say, can we have a look at this? Mm-hmm. Can we have a real look and put people under oath? Have public depositions, people under oath, explaining what happened. What was their role? Where were they? This is a powerful show. Michelle, thank you for all that.
521-8383. I'm just going to say this, and we're going to go to our calls. I believe 9/11 was an orchestrated, manipulative, purposeful event perpetrated by the United States government and other entities in order to, number one, Patriot Act was one of the most onerous things that has ever occurred to this country in regard to personal freedoms. Yeah. I have taken years to come to that conclusion.
It's hard.
And it's the most painful, it is troubling, it is unbelievably nauseating to even contemplate the possibility that we can perpetrate upon ourselves certain unbelievably harmful events. I'm saying that in context, that we have precedent within our nation at large of purposeful manipulation of the American people.
You know, you've seen these plans. I'm thinking of Holly Mae Maui as an example. Started back in the late 90s. Detailed, specific, targeted, comprehensive plans to change the very nature of the society in Maui. And all the islands have their plans. People are unaware of them. Honestly, this goes back to and is currently being implemented across this country and globally, 2030 agenda. It's not disconnected. The dots are right there, and they're actually being connected. But one by one, people are forced, they're honestly forced to reconcile what they believed about their government. That the government was for the people and by the people. A recognition that the government is not necessarily for the people, nor by the people. On the contrary, the government has an agenda. Hawaii, by the way, is leading the country in the implementation of Agenda 2030. We're in the last 10% of where you're going to have a digital society with the ability to constrain movement, exercise your free rights of property rights, what you're going to eat, where you're going to go. And this is not tin hat stuff. People will be saying, like you said earlier, these guys are nuts. These guys are conspiracy theorists. You know what? All you got to do is look back in history. Those who said that there was a conspiracy theory, turns out they were right. This pattern continues on, and the evidence is how it's being implemented. This is being done by Governor Green through emergency declarations. And the evidence is right before us. It is we, the people, must wrestle with our own conscience and say, not on my watch. This must come to an end. This is a powerful and important show.
521-8383, no breaks, 8:39 in the morning. Gary and Michelle in studio. In my professional life, I was taught one thing. Whenever there was a conversation, an accusation, a supposition, an allegation, whatever it is, two sides to every story. Has the Green administration or Maui representation, bureaucracy, whomever, whatever, has anybody reached out to you in any way to refute, comment, or engage you in a discussion?
No, and I've actually created a 17-page affidavit that I sent to not only myself, but many people have sent this affidavit of truth to the governor, showing him, thanks to Eric West on Maui, he's the reason I have all the pictures. One of the reasons I have all the pictures is because of Eric West. But this 17-page affidavit literally goes through step by step of why we need an outside investigator to look at this attack on Maui. I never received any information. Anybody's contacted me.
It is 8:42 in the morning. We continue on with Friends Online. Let's go to Wayne, who's here in town. Good morning, Wayne. Got to leave it there because I have a lot of calls, but we understand your call, and I'll turn it over to Michelle and Gary.
I'd like to just mention that, for those of you thinking that that's far-fetched, you got to read chapter Who Owns America, because the senior President Bush, he talks about the New World Order coming in. And so thank you so much for that information.
Gary?
Oh, and thank you for the call. This conversation of could be really doesn't have to exist. We actually know what has happened. It's not a conversation about what could be. There's actually tangible evidence that speaks to the things that we're discussing this morning. So I think that conversation is far more effective, that we would talk about what's actually so. I mean, everybody has their opinions, and many of them are rooted in what ifs, could be. That's hard to use that in the public square to convince somebody who is unaware of what's transpired. I would just suggest, let's go with what we know. There's plenty there. Mahalo, Wayne, for the call.
8:45 in the morning, moving ahead with time remaining. Let's head over right here on Oahu. It's Robin, and thank you, Robin, for your call. You're on the Freedom Hour.
Mahalo for that. You're correct. 2025 children. According to the Hawaii Education Department, they put out a a chart, and it said 3,001 children were enrolled in the Lahaina Luna School District prior to the fire. Over 500 re-enrolled, over 400 enrolled in private school, and 2,025 children did not re-enroll. And a friend of mine on the mainland who was a school superintendent called the Hawaii Education Department the second week after the fire and the third week after the fire and asked, has any school requested the academic records for these 2,025 children, and these academic records follow the child throughout their entire academic career? And the Hawaii Education Department said no school has requested academic records for 2,025 children. So I have seen the buses. I did not put that in my book because I could not absolutely verify it. The only thing in the book is things I could absolutely verify. That doesn't mean I don't totally believe that, but I just can't verify that. But 2,025 children, where are they? I do know that there's a lot of undocumented people that did lose their lives in this fire, and who's counting those? So it is a very sad thing. And yes, you can contact me for the Rotary, and we'll see what I could do.
Best contact would be Michelle?
Michelle at Blossom Inner Wellness. How to follow me on YouTube, Rumble, and all that is Blossom Inner. It's my fitness business. Blossom, BLOSSOM, Inner, INNER, Wellness.com. Michelle at blossominnerwellness.com. And you can go to YouTube, Rumble. Blossom Inner Wellness is how to follow me on social media.
Thank you, Robin, for your call, very much so, and welcome to the program. Line open, 521-8383. And welcome, Ann, to the program. Good morning. Ann, thank you very much for your help. Lines open, 521-8383. Michelle, book donations.
Yes, absolutely. I actually donate books all the time to Maui. I send them to an auntie over there, and she takes them to the market. I also send books to Eric West, I'm happy to do that. So for sure, we'll get that done.
Gary Cordery.
Well, Ann, thank you for the call. I love the idea. Unfortunately, the library system is a part of the government. I'm just going to say that it's unlikely that we'll have much response from librarians to put the book on the shelf. There's a collusion that's happened. This collusion represents the constraint and suppression of evidence. So although I think it's a fantastic idea and worth exploring, your heart, Ann, to illuminate information is powerful. So is it so? Is it possible? It's a great idea. I don't know if it's possible, but I can tell you that the bases are pretty well covered by the administration in terms of constraining information. That's a sad scenario, a sad commentary on the state of our Hawaii.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Also, there's 2 cafes on the Big Island that hold the book, that sell it. There was a bookstore that would not hold it. And so if anybody knows of a cafe or a bookstore that I could get the book into, I'm happy to send books over for that. So just, again, email me at michelle@blossominnerwellness.com, and I'll get them there.
Has there been any legal action on behalf of Lahaina victims and residents in this entire place so far?
Well, the legal action is just continuing. You know, I was just doing some research on the $4 billion, the payout that was supposed to make people whole. None of that money has been dispersed. It's still caught in legalese. The entire framework of it is set up in such a way that lawyers must be hired to ensure that people get some chance, an application process at these funds. That means 33% of that money goes directly to lawyers. Those in charge for the administration under the Attorney General's office, a law firm, Brown and Green, they're supposed to be the law firm that organizes the disbursement of these funds. They're doing nothing. I thought also that the One Ohana Fund, remember the One Ohana Fund that was supposed to make everybody whole? The declaration from our governor, $1.5 million, and if you take this money, you have no rights. You forfeit your rights to pursue legal action. Well, I checked it out. So far to date, 21 people have been approved. One person in 2 years has received the money from the government on the One Ohana Fund. And yet now, the government is committed to $200 million a year, $807 million overall, to help fund and make people whole. it's going to be taxpayer money. It has nothing to do with insurance. And those who are, quote, responsible, stakeholders, HECO, these others, they get big pay raises. They raise your rates. They're being made whole, and they're using all of this stuff as an opportunity to make life harder on the people, and the people would underwrite it. So I could tell you the legal battle is raging, and it is not resolved, even though the government has said, oh, we've made all these resolutions and it's all working out. In reality, behind the scenes, there's a great battle, a legal battle going on between insurance, individual stakeholders, individual citizens, and multiple law firms.
Michelle, is there any accounting of donated funds from private individuals in organizations because the call was out and people replied and responded? Where's all the money?
You know, that is such a good question. Ellie Cochran, who's the state representative of Hawaii, and she was born on Lahaina, survived the Lahaina fire. She's still there. She's actually asked, you know, there was over $3 billion given to rebuild Lahaina, and she's asking for the invoices, for the receipts, and she's being totally ghosted by the government. I don't know about the private donations that went to Lahaina Strong and whatnot, but yeah, the accounting is zero. It's like, and not only that, but Ellie was actually contacted by some contractors who were actually walking off the job because they weren't getting paid. And she said, what? There's millions of dollars for this. Why are you not getting paid? So it's very nefarious.
It is 8:53 in the morning.
Rick, I want to comment one thing
Please.
about that. So this process of distribution of funds, let's just take Maui Strong as an example. They've received some $240 million. They've dispersed $141 million. But the way that this is set up is you have 501c3s who are authorized to receive government money or gifted money. They get an automatic 10% off the top administration fee. And then anybody who has a good idea and has formulated a plan approaches them for a grant. There's no criteria. There's no accounting. There's no wondering what happened to the money. And the way that it's structured is the people who are making the money are the ones that are receiving this money. So think of it, 241 times 10%. Last time I checked, that's a lot of money.
And the next time you check, it'll still be a lot of money. That's incredible. We have time for one more caller. We're going to go to the top of the line and check in with Rich here in Honolulu. Rich, your brevity would be appreciated, but we welcome you to the program.
Yes.
Very good question.
Absolutely,
Michelle.
absolutely. There's one record that follows the keiki all the way through their whole academic career. So if they're in Lahaina, they go to another school district, that record follows them. So 2025 school records have not been requested by any school, and that is an issue.
Thank you for the brevity, Rich. That allows us to take one more call. And we go to Colleen, who is Pololo's side. Colleen, thank you for your brevity and welcome to the program. Colleen, thank you very much for your call. Michelle?
Yeah, that's actually in my book. This man who calls himself the governor, first words out of his mouth right after the fire, I'm looking for ways for the state to acquire the land for workforce housing. That's what he said to people who lost their entire home, lost their ohana, and he literally goes into the burn zone and says that. I'm looking for ways for the state to acquire the land for workforce housing. And look, Lahaina is still a burn zone. It looks like a bomb went off. There's like, I think 8 houses built after 2 years. So yeah, they're definitely right, going on track with what he said.
Michelle, in the time remaining, I'd like for you to give us your summation of our time together and additional information you'd like to share. Have about a minute or so.
So Mahalo Nui Loa for everybody listening. We can do actions. I have started a website called standtogetherhawaii.com, standtogetherhawaii.com. You can get the book at greatmauilandgrabbook.com, greatmauilandgrabbook.com. mahalonuiloa.com, put aloha in the coupon and get 10% off. And then again, like I said, share it. Our best way to work to move toward truth is to share the truth. So I just want to say so much mahalo nui loa for this channel, for this radio station, and your guys' courage to keep doing what you're doing.
We appreciate it very much. Thank you, Michelle. Gary Cordery, your thoughts?
Sobering show, a reality check for the people of Hawaii, a remembrance of what has been lost, and a kuleana to stand and do what is right for the future. Because what has happened in the past, if it's not put in check, it will happen again. So we would stand together in unity. The people of Hawaii would stand together in unity, join the Aloha Freedom Coalition, AlohaFreedomCoalition.org, AlohaFreedomCoalition@gmail.com. I just encourage you to help support this show. Stand with each other. Engage with your council person starting at your district level. Start right there. Maui County, Hawaii County, Honolulu County, Kauai County. Go there. Sit with those folks. Make sure that these plans for redevelopment are stopped. Aloha.
On that note, thank you so very much. Doug Pasnick, if you're listening in, can't wait till you come back as well. This has been the Freedom Hour. And join us every Saturday at this time. Aloha, it is 9 o'clock.